Hi, what's up, y'all? This is my fourth video and the fourth story. So, this story is basically a bit longer and it's a bit more engaging and interesting. So, let's start the story already. When I was in high school during my senior year, just a year ago now, our school had two different types of advanced course directions you could head in. If you were aiming towards advanced stuff, a more school or college related future, I was enrolled in AP, Advanced Placement, classes for a number of reasons as opposed to the other option, the IB program. Now, I chose AP primarily because you didn't have to take all AP classes to do so. I was good at math, so I just took AP Math and AP Physics. Whereas IB, you unfortunately have to take all advanced courses. Neither one of them was honestly easier or harder than the other. It really just came down to how difficult the teachers were individually. There was a friend of mine who was enrolled in the IB program and set in that direction since day one of high school. Now, I try not to be a snitch, and I knew since I met him freshman year that he occasionally got some extra help on homework and such, but it wasn't a big deal or anything, at least to my knowledge. Now, let's fast forward to senior year. He and the remaining 20 something IB classmates. There was just a small horde of them remaining. A lot of people fail or quit along the way, and those people are stressing the fuck out about tests that will ultimately decide their fate. AP is generally more widely accepted for receiving college credit, and as I said before, you can just do it for individual classes. IB is an all or nothing type of deal, so I understand that they must have been terrified for their academic future. This friend was cheating way more than I had ever remembered him to. Every single homework assignment ran through several other people in IB getting copied and slightly rephrased each person before coming back around. They all hung out in one classroom during lunch because, well, IB kids are nerds, the socially retarded kind, and so are AP kids. So the IB kids and some AP kids shared the room during lunch in a teacher's room for one really fun and science oriented array of conversations. This was a very kind and sweet teacher who was planning on retiring or taking a break from teaching after this year, and she would let students sit at her desk or browse her computer and basically just have normal social conversations with a lot of these students. Basically, her guard was down. As the time for these grand tests approached, some of the IB students found copies of tests in piles on her desk. This friend was basically the head coordinator of the cheatings and was often the one to find the tests and get them around to people who actually knew the answers. They stuck tight together. Of the roughly 27 or so of them in total, maybe like 12 of them were still honest people at this point. It wasn't until maybe halfway through second semester that I began to really find out about this. But apparently, I was late to the party as most of the AP kids in there already knew. Everything checked out with the cheating. There had been rumors and weird behavior. For example, one time a student asked for a graded assignment back as another student asked for help on something on the opposite side of the classroom. Mrs. Teacher points to a pile on her desk, telling the first student to look in it for his assignment and then proceeding to go through other piles of papers. I will honestly give them some credit though. They were some sneaky, clever people. As the end of the year came closer and closer, someone, an anonymous IB kid, told the teacher, I also don't quite know if the other IB kids knew about it or just didn't feel brave enough to speak up sooner because they all had classes together, studied together, and essentially became best friends with one another. I wouldn't doubt it was just fearing of losing friends or feeling like they were backstabbing them in the back. I mean, it was the same exact group of people together all day at school, every single day, similar to elementary, except lasting longer than just 1 year at a time. Anyway, I digress. There was a lot of discussion amongst the IB teachers, so I heard about some of it. From what I heard, they were debating on kicking him, along with a couple of the known accomplices of the IB program and putting that on their record, essentially scrapping all of their time in IB and in turn the last 2 years of their high school careers, while also slimming his chances of getting into a college. They had heard or been told rumors that there was some cheating going on in the IB program at previous points in time, but I guess it was never brought close enough to their attention. I honestly am not sure why this instance broke through to them. Over the next week, all of the AP kids were kicked out of that classroom during lunch and only IB kids remained. The first couple days we thought it was because they were looking on labs, but later we learned that they were all getting what was basically a battery of lectures on cheating and their academic image in a sense. A friend walked out with a pale face a few days in, followed by several of his cheat groupies. Essentially, they were given a stern warning, and I saw one girl walk out of the class at the end of lunch with a very satisfied look on her face. She had to be the one to blow that final whistle. What the teachers didn't know was how long the cheating had been going on. At last, if I had to guess, because that was just a slap on the wrist, in my opinion. Full on tests were stolen, every homework assignment was passed around like a paint by numbers conveyor belt for basically the past couple years. It honestly bothers me because I didn't know the extent of it till pretty much the end. I'm pretty sure the teachers still don't know the extent of it, and they all got into better colleges and than me and some of the few non-cheaters in that group. To my knowledge, they didn't cheat again, but those A's on tests apparently stayed the same because they still passed with flying colors on the graduation day. A major advanced course program at my high school was the Mexican cartel drug trade of test answers and cheating. Got found out, but only just and only minor injuries were sustained. And yeah, so this was the story, and it was basically about the IB program because the courses are so hard in that program, and all the subjects are so hard that people tend to cheat and tend to make mistakes, just like in this story. So I'll post the link in the description to the story and to the Reddit user, giving him credit. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and please share.